So, Season 5 premiere of My Little Pony. I'll leave all the obvious comments and observations to the other reviewers in the fandom, if they haven't abandoned the ride yet. In before booty calls, in before communism, in before Harrison Bergeron, in before Animal Farm, in before 1984, in before those amazing faces, in before inconsistencies regarding Cutie Marks, in before season-long story arc, in before recurring villain, in before why are you overanalyzing a children's cartoon, you man-child? There was one small detail that caught my attention.
I brought you friendship. I brought you equality. I created harmony!
I created harmony!
I have some words. You know what makes for a good villain? Sympathy. And not tragic backstories that make you feel bad for them or last-minute redemptions. Nah, mate, the best kind of villain is one that believes what they're doing is the right thing to do, to make the world a better place. Especially when they make a valid argument. And for those reasons, Starlight Glimmer is one of the best antagonists in the series. Because compared to villains from the past, Starlight Glimmer has the most characterization out of all of them. The first thing that's established is just how isolated this village is from the rest of Equestria. Not even the rail line has been built this far. The residents obviously know of at least Princess Celestia, but they've been so out of touch they probably don't even know of Cadence, Luna's return, and obviously not Twilight. This being perpetuated by Starlight having to deduce Twilight's princesshood.
Forgive my bluntness, but I'm assuming it's Princess Twilight Sparkle?
She has to think about it for a second. So Starlight Glimmer has gone to great lengths to build this society far away from civilization and prohibit any form of communication with the outside world. Now that is devoting oneself to an ideal. But it's also a little extreme. What would drive Starlight to such measures? It's necessary for her goal of creating equality, obviously, but why is she so set on equality? Well, this is going to get into some headcanon territory, so bear with me.
What? I studied that spell for years!
How much are you guys willing to bet that once upon a time Starlight Glimmer was a student at Celestia's School of Witchcraft and Gifted Unicorns? Manipulating cutie marks? Yeah, that sure is some unique talent considering how much emphasis is put on cutie marks and talents in this society. And all of this taking place in Canterlot, a place where, if I could hazard a guess, is the richest, most elite, and, most importantly, the most specially talented ponies live and would want to flock to. And why wouldn't they? It's the capital, where the living example of the most highly revered of ponies with the most outstanding talent lives. And here's poor little Starlight Glimmer, with one particularly unusual talent she excels at, but stumbles in every other school of magic.
No pony left behind!
Meanwhile, all her peers have already progressed to advanced levels of magic in half the time, among them being Sunset Shimmer and Twilight Sparkle. Imagine her depression. Imagine her anger at the unfairness of it.
We have no judgments here in our village.
And the ridicule. How hard can it be to make a simple shield spell, right? It can't be that hard.
Around here, we don't flaunt our special talents because we don't have any special talents to flaunt.
In her mind, it would only make sense to see all these other ponies as flaunting their talents about as if they were nothing, whether it was intentional or not. And imagine her, with all the effort and time she's devoted, and nothing to show for it. How could she even make friends like that? Naturally, she would lash out.
Different talents lead to different opinions, which lead to bitterness and misery.
Starlight would come to this conclusion, believing that different ponies with different talents would make some better than others. Wouldn't a cutie mark in, say, architectural design be more useful to society as a whole than knitting? In the long run, at least. But in the end, all of that could be seen as useless, considering no one will ever be as talented as Celestia.
There's just too many differences that lead to disarray.
And with all this in mind, instead of looking at it as ponies working together and using their different talents, Starlight sees it as a society working in a dysfunctional manner. She is confident that her beliefs are correct, and most important of all, Starlight would feel betrayed
Each of us was confused once as well, blinded by the false promise of our cutie marks.
When she was originally accepted to attend Celestia School, she was given the impression that the sky was the limit, and the only thing holding her back was her own will.
You can't have a nightmare if you never dream.
This would come to fill her head with ideas and dreams of grandeur, none of which would come to pass for her, so she runs away. But not without some knowledge on her side.
It was one of the great Mage Meadowbrook's 9 enchanted items.
It's hard to say if Starlight ever found exactly what she was looking for or not. Meadowbrook's items could have given her inspiration for the Staff of Sameness, or the items could have proven fruitless and she made up her own. Either way, now she had the basis through which she could gain her followers. She could build the perfect utopia in her own image, where everyone can truly work together and be happy for it. Every chance for disagreement would be eradicated. And maybe, on a deeper psychological level, Starlight could finally have some friends. And it isn't until Starlight's carefully constructed foundations begin to crumble that we get a good look at her true character.
I brought you friendship.
You can see her desperation,
I brought you equality.
her vindication of her ideals,
I created harmony!
and her biggest flaw. Listen to the song again. Notice anything about it? They're all singing the same notes. There's a difference in an octave or two, but it's the same note nonetheless. Now let's look at some of the other songs, like Find a Pet, for instance.
Can't settle for less, cause I'm the best, so a contest we will see. Who's the number one greatest, perfectest pet in the world for me?
Did you hear it? Let's isolate the music from the singing.
Can't settle for less, cause I'm the best, so a contest we will see. Who's the number one greatest, perfectest pet in the world for me?
Rainbow goes up in pitch, while Fluttershy stays down. It's that dissonance in notes that creates that beautiful, harmonious sound. I'm convinced that Starlight Glimmer's mistake was misinterpreting the meaning of harmony. Everyone being the same and equal isn't living in harmony. Learning to live with the differences in the world around you and bringing those differences together to make something new and beautiful. That is harmony. And that is why I believe not only that this is one of the best episodes of My Little Pony, it's also why Starlight Glimmer is one of the best characters. But then again, what do I know? It's a cartoon meant for girls. I highly doubt that Sonneborn and Larson, as smart as those guys are, I'm sure, would ever take a character to that depth. They did include a lot of elements that I hope would be brought up throughout the season, like the 8 enchanted items of Meadowbrook. That sounds like the perfect setup for a season-long story arc, if I ever heard one. And that Staff of Sameness, I don't know, I'm not really buying Starlight's story that she just found it in the desert. It has too specific of a design to it. And almost with that ending, just letting her get away with that? Nah, we have to be seeing her again. There's no way that they would just end it like that. I mean, sure, we got some non-closure endings last season, like with the Pony of Shadows and Flutterbat, but I don't know, the writers seem to be trying something different this season. In general, all around, like, I liked how the tone of the premiere reflected the theme. It was more down to earth. It was less huge spectacle and overambitious villains. It was brought down and more calm. And I think the premiere was made better because of that. And and that's really all I have to say. If you made it through all my ramblings about Pony, thank you for watching. I plan on showing this around the MLP community, especially the reviewers. So if any of you are watching this right now, do you think you have room for one more reviewer?